Holy draft lotteries. This is Flight Check, Season 5, Episode 15. We're back once again, talking all aspects of the FlyQuest. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes, not Sandy Flags. To my left and my extra left are my fellow hosts, Knox Mavs and Curly Double Basketballs.
Nice. Yep. We love that one.
We're here
Curly
again.
Double Basketball is crazy.
We apologize, folks, but I, as a Dallas native, just found out about Dallas winning the freaking lottery for the NBA.
1.8%
I'm a little stunned.
odds. 1.8% chance for them to land that first pick. My Washington Wizards falling all the way to 6th. Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I say this as a Dallas native, man, and we will get to FlyQuest, I promise. But like, I'm not joking when I say I discovered this news probably about a minute and a half ago. So let me get it out of my system.
Yeah, no, you guys
we'll
still
get into the esports. But yeah, even as a Dallas native, what the hell, man? How does this trade happen and then Dallas just gets bailed out?
Absolutely
like this?
bailed out, by the way. Absolutely bailed out.
Crazy. Okay, anyway, sorry. Sandy, pick up where we normally leave off at.
It's great. This is the pre-show, the pre-esports FlyQuest banter that we're craving. Curly, I'm coming to you next. Your immediate reaction to the Mavericks getting the #1 pick, and then following them, actually, Knox, you'll find this crazier. You were just talking about Victor Wembanyama. Guess who's picking #2 now? The San Antonio Spurs.
Spurs, yep.
So they get to add a hot shot player alongside Victor Wembanyama. I think San Antonio is going to be looking good. Curly, your thoughts on the Cavaliers being down 3-1 to the Indiana Pacers? Not looking so hot. What's going on there?
I mean, listen. Ever since LeBron left the second time, the Magic's never been there.
Deep.
And that's because they're in Florida. But that's a whole different joke. But no, I don't know, man. My coworkers are upset about it though because they're really invested in playoffs. Cleveland actually is doing rough in playoffs right now too, because the Monsters were looking really good at the end of the season. That's the AHL team around here.
Oh, yeah.
And then they hit playoffs, and they struggled against Laval in Montreal, or like in Quebec, and it did not go well. And their season is over, and it seems like that might be the case for the Cavs pretty soon, too.
Are Ohio hockey fans Columbus Blue Jackets fans? Is that
inherently, yes?
Or are they also like Pittsburgh Penguins fans as well?
So, yes, actually, there is like a sea. There's a pocket of Penguins fans around here because Pittsburgh is relatively close, and it's not as frowned upon to be a fan of that Pittsburgh team as it is, say, the Steelers or the Pirates, because baseball and football much larger here, and they actually can compete at the tier 1 level, whereas. A lot of teams, though, or fans are by proxy just Blue Jackets fans. And I got to commend them. Like, being a Blue Jackets fan over the wavering seasons they've had in the last decade, that's like a kind of loyalty you cannot beat. Personally, I'm a Bruins fan, and I found my fellow Bruins fans out here. They're everywhere. I mean, there's something about the Boston Bruins that are just better than every other team in the game, aside from the fact that we didn't make playoffs. But happens, you got to stumble once in a while.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. All right. Well, not only did some crazy stuff happen in the NBA draft lottery tonight, but some wild results that really shook up the LTA playoff picture occurred. Namely, and we're going to get to it with our one big thing, but I think this is probably going to be the collective one big thing here for all of us. Shopify Rebellion taking down 100 Thieves and condemning 100 Thieves to an elimination match versus Dignitas, correct? No.
Disguise.
Disguise.
I think it's
the
Disguise.
The other D team.
The other D team, yes.
Yes. Now, I'm not particularly worried for 100 Thieves taking on Disguised. However, I am curious for both of y'all's takes on 100 Thieves. A little bit of a collapse here, losing to a Shopify Rebellion team that everyone would have pegged to have not done so hot against 100 Thieves. This is probably the most surprising thing in the entire LTA. I would say in this entire group phase. This is the
Wow.
the upset that is kind of shaking the apple cart.
Yeah.
Where do you guys see 100 Thieves now, especially going into this elimination match next week?
I mean, they've really got to pick it up and show that they're at least not last place. Because the fact that they were able to drop so much to a team that's been struggling like Shopify has all season has just kind of shown a downward trajectory, which makes me feel bad for them because they were looking pretty okay at the start. I was hopeful for them to kind of get over their kind of wall that they faced when they got to TL in the finals back in split one. They're just kind of falling off, and they've really got to. It is literally make or break this weekend.
No, for sure. Nox, how about you? Like your reaction to 100 Thieves on this?
I mean, genuinely surprised because I think in general the Shopify team has really just been off the back of contracts managing to perform very, very well. I have to give it to Fudge though. Fudge had a banger weekend. Like this is the Fudge of 2021 Cloud9 that made an appearance this past weekend, and that was what really did the trick in my opinion. So if that Fudge is back to stay, this team may be the threat that we've all been kind of like eyeballing to be an actual top of the middle pack team instead of bottom of the middle pack team, right? So exciting for them. I'm happy for them. I still hesitant when it comes to any of the top three, but at least for the time being, I say they've solidly managed to put themselves in a position where they can argue that they are a top 4 team now, which is great because this whole year so far has been like, man, there's just no parity. We have our top 4 teams, we have our bottom 4 teams, and that's about it. It kind of seems like Shopify, to a certain extent, is leveling up just a little bit. So I'm happy for them, man. It's good.
My favorite thing about this weekend, too, is that Palafox really decided to show off. The week I traded him off of my fantasy team, he knew that he wasn't going to be earning me any points anymore, so he decided to die a little less and kill a little bit more. Really, really shown up. But no, I do like that there's actually signs of life in this Shopify Rebellion team, especially because it's kind of, personally, I've been wanting to the DeMonte trade to work out for them, and maybe in some facets it is. Maybe they just were able to get a good one against a struggling team in 100 Thieves, or maybe their trajectory truly is on the up and up, and this was the meeting point of those two. I don't know how you make a graph with, you know what I'm trying to do. One's going down, the other's going up. They met in the middle. Bam, there we go.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely good for the league, in my opinion, that Shopify got this win. I'm just glad that there is some breakup of the top 4. I wasn't sure where it was going to come from, but nice to see Shopify doing this. I mean, I was still under the impression that Lion could.
Everyone was expecting Lion.
But it was nice to see Shopify make this move. Nox, what's your thoughts there?
Well, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be someone like punching up. I wasn't really thinking any of the bottom 4 teams were going to be doing the punching. I thought it was someone that was going to collapse. I did have it pegged as I pretty much had it all 3 teams outside of FlyQuest. Like I never thought FlyQuest would be necessarily first place, but like I never imagined a world where they're dropping down to the bot 4, right? The other 3 teams, there was always some world where it was like, yeah, 100 Thieves is super inconsistent. Team Liquid doesn't ever perform unless Spawn's there. And then Cloud9 has a not brand new roster, but kind of brand new roster that's still trying to gel. So like if there was some world like that they're not gelling, like I could see them dropping to the bot 4. So I really thought it was one of those teams dropping down and then someone just happened to capitalize on it. This was a matter of, I think Shopify managed to actually punch up a little bit, which was great. So, what I was originally saying was I thought it was going to be Team Liquid specifically that was going to drop down, not 100 Thieves. But I mean, Hey, what you get what you get. I'm
Yeah.
not complaining. I'm glad to see some upsets happening finally this year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm just really glad to see some life in the LTA North.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, I've said this before. I think so far this second split has been kind of boring. Nothing too crazy. I missed the Cloud9 Team Liquid match from the weekend. Did either of you watch it by any chance?
I
Nope.
did see the highlights for it.
Okay.
In which case,
Talk us through
Um,
those.
Yeon looks great as normal. I think the general TL bot lane looks solid. I think Cloud9's bot lane actually looks really, really good too. I think the big difference here is Blabber is playing like, at least in that series, he was playing like a monster, man. He was crazy. He was everywhere and anywhere that he needed to be at all times. He even got around APA Ziggs pick. I don't know if that was necessarily the smartest thing to let through the draft, but TL got APA Ziggs, and he was 7-0-5 like 40 minutes in the game. He was a scary Ziggs. Cloud9 still managed to get around it, man. I was very impressed with Blabber in general this past weekend versus the TL series. So I think the long story short is you have to give credit to Blabber. I think he was an absolute monster. Everyone else was kind of in general carrying their weight, but that guy in general I think should have been like the standout player of the week. I don't know if he was or not. Let me see really quick if you got like player of the series for that. Scroll down.
Blabber, I believe he did, yes.
Yep, Blabber did indeed get player of the series, which makes sense because everything I saw in his gameplay, I was like, dang, he's killing it for Cloud9 right now. So props to Blabber.
That was his third player of the series, I believe, according to...
Tied with Inspired.
Yeah, tied with Inspired, River, and Saint. Bwipo, by the way, number 1 in player of the series, which I guess is also player of the game.
Technically guaranteed to finish the regular split with it, because
yes.
the max the other one, because the max the other ones can get is one more, and he's sitting up at 5.
Yeah, I mean, unless they count playoffs, which I don't know if they would.
I did say regular season.
Oh, this is a good point. All right, well, let's look ahead to next week. Well, let's talk about actually the season behind us.
We could talk about our weekend.
Yeah, we could talk about our weekend. This is true. With the consequences that it bears into the playoff seeding matches next weekend. All right, so we missed last week, so let's just discuss it really quick. That was a 2-1 over Shopify Rebellion, which, from what I saw, watching over my shoulder as I played a board game, was actually a bit more of a struggle fest. And so maybe I should not be so surprised at Shopify Rebellion taking down 100 Thieves this next weekend. So Shopify, I think, actually showing out that they are the second best team in this group. FlyQuest, though, we absolutely ran away with this group, only dropping the one game to Shopify, 2-0'd 100 Thieves, 2-0'd Dignitas, 2-1 Shopify. I mean, this was completely unsurprising. Was there anything in this group phase for you guys, FlyQuest specific, that particularly stood out to you?
Is there any, is there a way to prepare drafts against us?
I think it's hard.
Can you? I don't know if you're like one of the other coaches and you're scouting, and especially you see this weekend just what Bwipo pulled out. I feel like you just throw your journal at the wall and be like, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah, I don't think there's any draft that you ever actually come up with. I think there's just certain factors that you mitigate as much as possible, like certain stylistic styles of play that you want to like. I don't really want to go for this, and then you really just hammer, hey, this is a style we need to play, and you just hope for the best, and you play your best, right? So,
well, I mean, let's look at the style that they tried to ban out against Bwipo on the first game, banning Yorick and Scion. Surely that will give Surdy a great blind pick in Jace, right? Wrong.
Yeah, I will say, because he played Nidalee in the Shopify series, and it did not look good, correct?
Yeah.
If I remember it. So, I mean, I will, because even though I never saw the series last week, I did see the scoreline for that particular game, and I was like, yikes. And so when I saw him pull it out for this game, I was like, oh no, I got real nervous. But I gotta say, man, granted his opponent is Surdy, who, as much as I want Surdy to do well in this league, because I mean he grew up under FlyQuest, and it's always great to see NACL talent make it into the LTA. I gotta call a spade a spade. He is the worst top laner in the LTA currently.
He's struggling. He's struggling.
So with that said, Bwipo had a very easy opponent with the Italy. I still don't know if that's something he can get away with, especially versus Thanatos or even I would say at this point maybe even Fudge, because Fudge looked terrifying with it, or Fudge looked terrifying this past weekend rather. Yeah. So with that said, I mean he whips out the Nidalee and he just had a field day with it. So
well, the secret is now of the sample size of 2, you've got one really bad one and one really good one. So now you never know what you're going to get. And right in that chaos is where we thrive.
We do thrive in the chaos. That is for sure. Yeah. Curly, I would tend to agree with you that I think the champion pools that this team, that FlyQuest has, is really special. Actually, Masu's champion pool is actually crazy. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to keep talking while I pull it up. But his champion pool, his ability to pull anything, well, not just like this split, but just like overall in like his entire career, he has basically played everything. It's incredibly impressive. I'm going to pull it up. There he is, Masu. So yeah, I mean, just in this split alone, right? He's played mostly the Varus and the Corki, but he also has a game each on Caitlyn, MF, Kalista, Xayah, Ezreal, Jinx, and Sivir. So if you're counting with me, that's 9 champs across 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 champs across 14 games.
And only 2 losses.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
And then I think if you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's got 3 more champs. I'm not sure which ones they are for the entire season itself. But you've got 15, 20, 27, 12 champs in 27 games for the entire season so far. Right? So, like, there's a lot of variety. And yes, I think the Varus and the Corki he has indexed pretty heavily into. But the fact that he is able to bust out the Sivir, the Xayah, the Kalista if it gets through, the Caitlyn, the Kaisa, like these are all champs that situationally can do a lot of work. So people want to talk about like Bwipo's champ pool, but Masu's champ pool is, to me, equally as impressive. Like, it's hard to ban this guy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think really, and this is crazy to say this because Inspired has a pretty deep champ pool too. But I think just based off the stylistic plays of how FlyQuest wants to play, I think you almost need to start targeting Inspired a little bit and just trying to, like, you're not going to ban him out. That's never going to happen, right? But I think you need to start hitting some of his champions and trying to force them into a certain niche of jungle style.
Right.
And that, in my opinion, is probably where you can probably target FlyQuest the best. That's kind of how I would want to play it out. But even then, that's still really hard to do. So it's either that or quad. But even then, quad, I mean, it's kind of hard to ban mid laners right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the mid lane pool is relatively small. Because, like, obviously Azir is ever prevalent. I don't think...
I mean, Curly, you say that. I'm going to interrupt you there. But even quad, like, there are... 9 champs listed on him just for spring alone.
Really?
Orianna, Silas, Lucian, Cass, Yone, Ryze all have a game each. A couple games on Victor and Talia, and then 4 games on Azir. Like, he's had a lot of variety. So 9 champs across 14 games. Like, that's basically what Masu has done, right? Like,
wow.
There's a lot of... It's hard to ban us out. We have a lot of things that we can play. A lot of compositions we can play. I think we're in a really good spot going into playoffs.
Fearless best of fives are going to go crazy.
Well, I think we're really set up well for Fearless best of fives. assuming that we can, assuming that the team gets to a game 4, right?
Mhm.
That might not even happen the way we're playing. Is there anything that has stood out to you guys as like a worrying trend from FlyQuest, or are we like feeling pretty good about how the way things are going here?
I mean,
Trend? Uh,
I wouldn't call it a trend, but it's like for the fact that we have gone undefeated in the group stage, and that we were had a tied first record, only losing to tiebreaker, like head to head. We still, admittedly, have some what moments where it's like we're doing really good, and one player will just do something they really didn't need to. Like, admittedly, as great as Masu did this weekend, his death on Varus, I watched that scene and I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you push up so far? You didn't need to. And of course, it's in-game hype. Like I do it myself too, so I'm not going to dog on him too much for that. But it's like we just, no matter how good we're doing, we are always one oops away from maybe not. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'll because I was struggling to come up with an idea myself, so I'll back Hurley on his thoughts and just say there are moments where, and I'm kind of fine with it because in a sense, a lot of these games don't necessarily matter too much because it's just seeding still, and in
Mm-hmm.
general, quality of plays like we're fine. It's best of threes. Like we will make it to playoffs. It's okay. So a lot of the moments that I'm witnessing are kind of moments of like how hard can we push our lead? How hard can we push our tempo? How hard can we punish the enemy team? And there's moments where we get caught on that and we get called on it, and that's fine. Those are learning moments. I think the big thing is as long as you don't see those moments reoccurring and maybe you just dial it back maybe like 2 or 3% in the actual matches and playoffs, then it'll be fine. I'm not overly concerned right now.
You want to know the other thing that I think will actually make this way easier for us now too is this slashing, like them putting lane swapping, like them addressing that, getting rid of it through the
Yeah.
literal mechanics of the game. Now we just get to play normal League of Legends again, and we've shown we're pretty good at that.
No, I completely agree. I think, yeah, I think we are a better team without lane swaps being in the meta because I think we just outlane. I think we hand stiff, and it looks really, really good for us. I think there were other North American teams, I won't say who, that really over relied on lane swaps, and now that those are gone, they are being exposed as maybe not the best. But then, I will say you have other teams like I will say Cloud9 who are looking really good as well. Um, Without the lane swaps, right? There's another team that for me they didn't do so hot in the lane swap meta. Now that those are gone, they look like the other really strong team in the league. Um, Team Liquid has kind of fallen down the rankings for me. 100 Thieves, we kind of saw what happened to them the past few weeks. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see Curly how the lack of lane swaps continues to evolve as we get into Fearless Best of Fives, and to see how people play it out from there. All right, let's talk about the other group for a minute. So Cloud9 took Group A, swept that group, only dropping a game to Lion, interestingly enough.
Which that was almost a lost series. Like
Right.
Lion had that almost as a 2-0.
Yeah, which could have been really interesting. Three teams tied at 2-1. And yeah, Cloud9 then would have been 4-2 alongside Team Liquid, and Lion would have been also 4-2. So I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know how I don't know how the tiebreakers
I
work
don't
on
know how
that one.
those tiebreakers would have worked out. But um, do you guys see Cloud9? I'm going to get right into this. This is a hard hitting question.
Sure.
Do you guys see Cloud9 as FlyQuest equals? Like, okay, yeah, we played them in the first place match. We'll talk about that in a minute. But do you guys see them as FlyQuest equals because they won their group, or Are they ahead? Are they lagging behind? What's the general sentiment on Cloud9 right now?
I would say they are definitely equals. The thing I'm nervous about is I would generally think Blabber's style of jungling is currently more superior in this current meta over Inspired's.
Mm.
So for me, the thing I'm eyeballing is when it comes to this series, and most likely, in my opinion, the grand finals of playoffs as well, um, is can Inspired manage to withstand Blabber's level of jungle pressure that he's going to exert on the game in this current meta? Because that, in my opinion, is probably the big Cloud9's biggest strength is how Blabber's currently playing the game and how aggressive he is in getting his lanes ahead. If Inspired can hold them off, or if the lanes even, because here's the other option that we don't necessarily always consider, is if the lanes can manage to hold their own and still allow Inspired to do his normal jungle pathing and farming and become super strong later on, and they do their normal 5v5s. I mean, that's a possible solution to it as well. But that's the big thing I'm going to be watching is kind of the jungle matchup between a Blabber and Inspired when these best of threes and eventually best of fives pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curly, what do you think?
I mean, I definitely have great respect for the team. They're definitely doing really, really good this split. Saying they're less than equal would be a disservice, so they're absolutely equal. I could see that they are arguably maybe a bit better because on paper, hypothetically, their group was more difficult to come out on top in because before the surge of Shopify, this group felt pretty to chalk, whereas there was the potential for a bit of uprooting with Mayan and the other group, and that just didn't actually happen. So that's actually, I would say they're equal because neither group, I think, went exactly how everyone thought they would. Like, we got similar results in general, but the process of getting to them didn't quite go how people thought. Because TL has fallen off, even though they're second place, and the surge of Shopify really, like, shook things up. So I think it's all going to come from how we play this weekend, the real decision on that, and then when we face them again, and then when we face them again. Because we're about to face each other 3 times, and if everything goes the way we think it is, because we're going to face them on, was it Saturday we play? I think it's Saturday. Whatever we play this weekend.
Is the schedule out? Let's find out.
Whatever the date.
It's out. FlyQuest Cloud9's first, and then it's the 100 Thieves versus Disguised, I think. No. Sorry, Lion versus Dig, and then TL Shopify, and then 100 Thieves versus Disguised.
Okay. What a lame way to end the weekend. Sorry. Anyway.
Damn! How do you see it, I guess.
Yeah, shit versus rock or whatever. Anyway, but we're going to face each other this weekend, and then we're both going to be whoever we face in the first round of playoffs. And then really it's that upper bracket semifinals or whatever that would be called.
Yeah.
That's where I think is going to be the very big, like, check. Because I think depending on whoever loses that, and whatever is going on in the lower bracket, that would be the only, obviously, literally the only place things could be shaken up. But if things don't look like they're good in the lower bracket, then it's just someone who's going to knock it down to go right back up and face again in the finals.
Yeah.
And if things, unless we have the playoffs TL that people talk about so much, where they turn things on for the end of the split, I'm not really seeing any team that can cause that upheaval in the lower bracket.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this mini rivalry against Cloud9.
Yeah. I am interested to see how this weekend goes. This is a bit of an aside. I kind of wonder why they're doing this seeding match. These like seeding best of threes when they could have just they could have done the elimination matches, right? Made them best of fives. Did one on Saturday, did one on Sunday, and then, you don't really need seeding for these like upper brackets because you just do FlyQuest plays Team Liquid and Cloud9 plays Shopify, winners play each other, and then it falls down to losers bracket if like.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Sandy.
Like, and I
It's
would
You
rather,
know,
and like
you
these
know,
elimination bracket, these like elimination matches being best of threes kind of sucks.
yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
like
Yep.
kind of sucks that you're playing for your playoff life, and you get a best of three to decide it.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that's kind
Probably
of
something they'll revisit for next year. My guess is they had whoever was behind the scenes planning out the split once they learned they had to implement series. They found its way to inject it, and then they had already planned a schedule of 7 weeks,
yeah.
then playoffs, and so they were just like, "How can we adjust this?"
Well, I mean, I feel like even what they could have done is just done like a the specific seeding matches could have been best of threes, and then just do the best of fives for the elimination matches.
Yeah.
So you have like
Yeah.
the hype, Cloud9 versus Shopify, or Cloud9 versus FlyQuest best of three on Saturday. Then you do a best of five elimination match. Then you have Team Liquid versus Shopify best of three. Then a best of five elimination match, and like I don't
Yeah.
like. Sure, maybe you get unlucky and you have an 8-game day. Oh no, like big deal. You probably aren't getting that. Let's be honest. Like 100 Thieves, it's gonna be a 2-0, 3-0. So yeah. Anyway, Knox, did you give your take on Cloud9 being and their equivalents to FlyQuest?
Yeah, I basically
He
went in
did.
on saying like Blabber and Inspired are the two that I'm watching, and they're
Yeah.
even, but I'm really watching the jungle matchup, and I slightly favor Blabber currently in this current meta.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Blabber's been slightly more impressive to me in the last few weeks. Um, all right, and then let's talk about before we get really specifically into Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. I want to talk about Team Liquid and Lion as well. Um,
Team Liquid in line. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
well, no,
Sorry.
did you have a take there?
Well, no, I thought you were gonna say Team Liquid and Shopify like that matchup, and I was like,
Well,
could
I mean,
care
I just want
less
to
'cause
talk
that
about.
matchup does not matter.
Yeah. I mean, Team Liquid, like for me, we can talk about Team Liquid Shopify. Actually, you're right. Let's just talk about Team Liquid Shopify now, and just kind of start previewing some of these matchups. So, Team Liquid Shopify, that's going to be the third place match on Sunday. Knox, sounded like you have a take ready to go.
Well, my thing is I just don't care because the thing is, no matter who wins this match, the winner of FlyQuest versus Cloud9 picks who they want to play. It's not a first versus fourth. It's
I think it is.
I checked the rule book on this. I looked this up this morning in the LTA
No
rulebook.
way. Really?
First place
Yeah.
picks who they want to play.
Oh,
So this
that's
match
mega
literally
ass.
does not matter. It does not matter. Like this, they could break out four fun picks, and it does not matter because it's just a matter of one of Cloud9 or FlyQuest chooses who they want to play. And let's be real here, both teams are going to probably pick Shopify no matter what.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like, I don't even really want to bother discussing this match because I don't know how much it's even really going to like matter, So
For me, my big thing is if they do approach it seriously enough, is I think it could set a precedent for what we'll see in the early stages of playoffs. Because if Shopify does overtake TL, and if it's like it looks like it's a legitimate competition, which it should be, they're pros, just because this doesn't have any real effect on the next stage, it still matters. It's still a representation of something that like a game you had, and you should try. And so, like, if Shopify does come on top, I'm very curious how that would affect TL heading into things. Like, do they just brush it off, or does it impact them?
Yeah, I think. Knox, I am in agreement with you that this match is a weird, kind of a waste of time. I do favor Team Liquid ultimately, right?
yeah.
Curly, I agree with your points wholeheartedly across the board. Like, if this isn't. Here's my take. If this isn't a 2-0 for Team Liquid, they've got serious problems, right? And we already know that there are problems on this Team Liquid roster, that they're not really at their peak. But if they don't 2-0 Shopify, then they're going to struggle come playoff time. So Spawn better fly back in to really whip him into shape. Which, really, it was Mother's Day yesterday. I hope Spawn stays with his family. I just really think it would be in his best interest to stay with his family, support his wife, support his kids, just be back there in Australia, doing the family thing, being a dad. Just stay home, man. No need for you to fly all the way to the States. No need. It's all good. It's all good. All right, let's talk about these elimination matches. These are spicy. Lion versus Dignitas. I want to say Lion is favored here, but
yeah,
I don't know. I've been starting to lose a little bit of faith in Lion lately. I wonder if there's an angle for Dignitas to get in there. I think Dignitas can.
I think there's absolutely there is absolutely an angle for sure. I agree.
They can get a game for sure. Getting 2 is a little bit of is a little more questionable for me. Knox, what do you think? What's Dignitas's path to victory here?
So their path to victory, in my opinion, kind of relies upon I'm not really sure, because Lion has moments where they, like, when they are truly synergized as a team, they can be like the 5 best players on the Rift. Like, I really do believe that. I think like Licorice has moments where he's like, damn, that looks like the Licorice of old, the man that was killing it back on Golden Guardians for a little while, and he made it to MSI. The Cloud9 Licorice when he was killing and stealing Barons with Ornn back at Worlds. Like, he looks good sometimes. Audie Land looks like the absolute Latin American goat at other times. Saint, obviously one of the best LCK CL mids, like mechanics wise, great. Henna, obviously an LCK AD carry at one point or another, and then Lions has always been a solid support as well. Like, all these guys have moments in time where we're like, damn, man, I see why they put this together. This team, they look good, but their consistency, especially as like individuals, is just not there. Compare that to Dignitas, where like Kine has like really good moments, but like in general is kind of middle of the pack. Tomo and Isles are kind of middle of the pack in general, if not like on the lower end. 30 can have good moments, but in general has been not far and away, I shouldn't say that, but he has been the worst top laner in the LTA. But they have moments where, like, as a team, they can actually synergize pretty well together. They actually look like they have some good synergy. So, for me, this kind of strikes me as a team of who can be, like, will Lion's consistency appear on the day, or will Dignitas' middle of the pack synergy be enough to surpass Lion's inconsistencies? I'm going to lean the way of Lion, but there's absolutely a world where Dignitas takes his best of 3.
That's fair. Curly, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it depends on the morale that the team approaches with, because I actually watched the pros episode today, and a lot of what it sounded like from what Surdy and Shaden were saying is, like, number one, you could feel lack of energy. They were saying scrims this last week were rough. They didn't have a good time in the series. They had just played against FlyQuest and all that. And so their energy was low, but they were both like, yeah, like, it felt like they were hoping to have a better week of practice in scrims. And so whatever happens during the week really does affect their approach to game day. And so I'm thinking, as long as they're really able to lock it in and like take the seriousness of like what this match means for them and try to punch up against Lion, there's a world where they really can pull it together. Because especially, I really see Tomo. Tomo, I feel, sometimes is being held back by the circumstances surrounding this team. Because we've seen him over the years when he was playing on FlyQuest, and when he was first brought over to Dignitas, he like actually can really pop off. And even, I'm gonna go back to the one kill that he had on Masu in the game this weekend. Like, looking at that sequence of events, is he saw the second that Masu had overstepped a little bit and just followed through. on punishing him for that. Like, he does have the instinct of a really good high caliber ADC, and so he just needs to get the opportunity to perform like one. So I think that their victory has to be off the back of feeding that bot lane and that mid lane.
100%. Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how this goes, because I think Lion has an opportunity to really prove some things too here, right? Like, they have the opportunity to kind of put a beat down on Dignitas and really show that they like deserve to be in the playoff conversation. I think if they just kind of like sneak by or squeeze by Dignitas, then they're definitely going to be in trouble. Unless they draw Shopify after Shopify drops down. A Lion Shopify best of 5, I'd be very intrigued by. That'd be interesting for sure. All right, and then the final one, 100 Thieves versus Disguised. Disguised actually like hasn't looked god awful to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's a lot of good moments. They just
can't string them together
they
is the
can't
problem.
string the good moments together, and then they just like have some bad team fights, or the communication is really poor. Like, I think I was watching yesterday's match that they had. Who did they play?
They played Lion.
Yeah, they played Lion. Thank you. And I want to say Abadaga just like with the Talia ulti, basically completely screwed the positioning around Baron at one point. I don't remember when or which game this was, but there was a moment where I was watching and I watched Abadage basically block his own team or members of his own team from being able to either engage in the fight or get out of the fight with the Talia wall. And I was like, whoa, what are we doing here? And I think that was, to me, that was just a primo example of just the struggles of this Disguised team. And then there's like weird moments where like something crazy happens, like Scary Jerry was popping off on the Ezreal during a base defense. Like, the guy can actually play really well. Like, I think on a team that's not Disguised, he actually could perform, right? Like, I don't necessarily see him as the liability on this team. Who he's been really disappointing. Abadaga, I think, has been incredibly disappointing. I would not be surprised. Like, let's say, Disguised survives the promotion series that they'll have to play at the end of the year. I'd be shocked to see Abadaga return to this team.
Same. I mean, we'll see if he's even here in summer.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, he could be gone for split 3.
Yeah. I would not be surprised to see that either. That's floated around a little bit. Maybe him getting replaced. This would have to be the time to do it. But yeah, 100 Thieves, though, on the other hand... Actually, hang on. I do want to get y'all's takes on Disguised, just looking back now that their season's probably about to come to an end. Have we seen enough improvement from this team? Like, are things finally coming together a little bit? Are they just that mechanically under the rest of the league? Like, what's going on here?
As a team, no, I don't think I've seen really any improvement. From certain individuals, yes, I actually do think there's been some improvement from certain individuals. I think XU, on a very, very minor level, has started to look a little bit better, like an actual LTA jungler. He's still at the absolute bottom of the barrel, but he actually looks like he belongs on the LTA stage now, in my opinion. Scary Jerry is still working his way up there, but compared to where he was in the beginning, like back in winter, he looks a lot better, in my opinion, right? I think Castle in spring has kind of been hit or miss, but he still has really, really good moments. Huhi, I'm still not really been overly impressed with, and Abadage has had a couple cool plays here and there, but outside of that, in general, has also not really been impressive for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I just I feel like at a certain point, I don't think changing coaches does anything. I think there's a player change that you probably got to be making soon. And from what I've heard behind the scenes is, and this kind of tracks a little bit too, right? Back when Huhi was on NRG with contracts, Huhi is very much someone that wants to be making the play calls and wanting to like drive the direction of how the game is supposed to be played. But he does not work well when there's someone else on the team also wanting to do that, a la contracts on NRG, right? So come to DSG, it's like, okay, maybe you can be the leader of this team. I kind of heard recently from some people behind the scenes that XU is very much kind of the same way. He's the one that is kind of wanting to be the driving force, like, hey, here's what I need, here's what I want you to do, here's what I think the team needs to do, so on and so forth. So I don't know how public that is. I don't know if that's something that when DSG as a team was getting put together, that maybe Toast or I forget who the general manager for Disguised is, but I know he'd put together teams in the past for Dignitas back in like 2018, 2019. So I don't know how well aware that individual was of that fact, that that's kind of how XU was and that's how who he was. So in my opinion, if you're still struggling to get the team to kind of work together in this regards, I almost feel like you need to either grab a different support or grab a different jungler at this point, because I feel like that's kind of what's also, and again, this is a huge assumption on my part, but I think that's kind of what's kind of causing a lot of the team issues, right? Not necessarily that it's them butting heads, but it's just them not being able to synergize, because that's what happened to Huhi in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's happening now.
No, I think you swap out your mid laner. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, no, you can do that too, but I think even if you replace the mid laner, you're going to continue to have team and synergy issues. I don't think the team is going to be able to figure out how they want to play the game unless you get a better shot caller or you eliminate one of the two that are kind of not allowing synergy
That's
to happen.
fair. That's fair. I mean, on that merit, not that it's replacing the coach, but that just means that that's something that the coach really needs to work on in the off season, no matter how long that is. Is if they're going to maintain them instead of replacing, it's like, look, one of you guys is in the driver's seat, one of you guys is the supplementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, let's move the focus to 100 Thieves then. What's happening? What's happening to this team? I don't even know where to start with 100 Thieves. It just... Things seem to just not be going well. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore with this team. I don't know if I can trust this team anymore.
I see a lot of flame going towards FBI.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like, I just think some people are very underwhelmed with his performance throughout the split.
Which is so interesting because I felt like he was a huge part. Him and Quid were just huge parts of their split one success.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah, I also think.
Go for it, Curly.
No, I also think we're just waiting on the return of River because he's not been performing quite what I want to see from him and what I've seen from him in the past.
Yeah. No, I'll be. Go ahead, Knox.
I was just gonna. I think in general, I don't think Sniper's been playing that well either. I think he's not really been. I don't know, man. I expected him to kind of have he had this driving force last year. Like, you could tell he was still new, he was still a rookie, he would have dumb macro decisions. But man, he put himself out there, and he always had some form of agency in the game. I feel like nowadays, the level of agency he's having in a lot of the 100 Thieves games are just not. He's invisible now. He's not doing much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you suddenly have that happening, and then you have FBI who, let's be honest, was punching above his weight level back in Split 1, who's now no longer doing that and being very inconsistent. You're relying upon Quid and River to kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting, in which case that's kind of hard for just a mid-jungle. You got to have the rest of the team to back you up, or some other like final 1-2 punch. You got to have a second punch coming in to actually get the KO, you know? So
right.
With that said, one of the two needs to step back up, whether it be FBI or Sniper. I'm not sure, but until that happens, it's not looking good for 100 Thieves going forward.
I would agree. Curly, how about you?
mean, yeah, they just got to get their shit together. That's really all it is.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. All right, let's finally look at Cloud9 FlyQuest.
Yeah.
To me, an important best of three. Maybe, I mean, the elimination ones, yeah, for sure. But this is the most consequential. I mean, being able to pick, you win this, you get to pick your opponent, which will probably be Shopify, which means you get that free, basically free pass to round 2, right?
I don't want to say free because
Mostly
they did take
free.
it they did take a game off of us. They did just beat 100 Thieves. I will give them the respect that they deserve. They're playing within the realm of a top 4 team. Does that mean I'm worried about them? No, but I do think we need to give them the respect. And even no matter what, I am going to still pick them over Team Liquid because Team Liquid will supposedly have Spawn back because that's playoffs time at that point, right?
Okay, yeah.
So regardless, I'm picking Shopify, but I don't think it's a free pass, so to speak. You do got to put a little bit of respect on.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you beat Shopify, you get straight to round 2. Even if you lose round 2, you still are only one best of 5 away from making finals, right? So you're in a really good position. You don't have to fight through losers bracket. So a very consequential best of 3 here. How are you guys feeling about this coming in? Cloud9 got pushed by Lion. We got pushed by Shopify. I feel good. I don't know if we've shown a ton, that where we've revealed our hand. And pursuant to our conversation earlier, there's just so much that we can do. The champ pools are just oceans. I don't know. I want y'all's takes on this.
I mean, I think I'm very confident we're going to win this. I do think we're going to have a full series. No matter which way it goes, I think we're going to have a full series. Because I'm going to give respect to Cloud9, especially because, they did beat us. They were the only team to beat us in the first part of the split. And so I'm not going to be shocked if and when that happens again. It's going to be how we make sure we get the 2, how we make sure we come out ahead in the full series.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really that third game it's obviously going to be very important, but the level of creativity, I think that's when we're going to have to be our most creative is when we get to that game 3. If we're able to pull out something that we haven't shown on the Rift before, that might be our way to secure a good thing. And then we probably won't do it because we might not worry about that unless we get to a game 5 in playoffs. But I'm still overall confident. Respectfully confident.
All right. That's Curly's take. Knox, how about you? Are you respectfully confident?
I wouldn't. I'm just respectful. I like I said, I think the 2 best players in general on these 2 teams are the junglers, respectively, each. And I think right now, meta-wise, I think Cloud9 has a better lineup in terms of how they want to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, I think I'm actually probably giving the favor to Cloud9 in this series, but it's like a 55-45. It can swing either way. It will come down to decision making in the game. But in terms of overall stylistic play, I think it's an ever so slight leaning Cloud9's favor just because of how Blabber likes to play. And his ability to actually influence the lane states is absolutely absurd. Mm-hmm. With that said, I mean, the lanes for FlyQuest are very, very hard to affect. So, good luck to Blabber. I don't know how well he's going to do in that regard. But I think in terms of if you were to flip the same position onto Inspired, I think he's going to have an even harder time because he's not as good at it. And I think Cloud9's lanes are also of the same standard as FlyQuest lanes in that regard. So that's why it's just an ever so slight lean in Cloud9's favor. But either way, man, I I just wish this was a best of 5, and we will probably get that best of 5 come grand finals because I think these two teams are going to be in the grand finals. So it's kind of nice because we're going to have the best of 1, we're going to have a best of 3, and we're going to have a best of 5 with these two teams, and that's awesome. I love that. So yeah, I think that's in general my thoughts summed up pretty quick.
Totally fair. All right, well now I'll put you guys on the spot, and we got to get some score predictions here. Let's just do each match real quick from last match on Sunday night all the way through the Cloud9 FlyQuest first thing Saturday afternoon. 100 Thieves versus Disguised. I've got 100 Thieves 2-0 in this one. How about you guys?
I got 100 Thieves 2-1.
All right.
Ooh, okay. No, I'll take the 2-0.
All right, Team Liquid Shopify. I've got a TL 2-1.
I think I was spicy and picked Shopify 2-1 on my pick'ems earlier today. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go TL 2-1 as well. I think Shopify will take a game, but I think in general, Team Liquid with Jan and Core JJ as well as APA. APA, I think, is playing pretty decently right now. I think those three can help make sure they can secure the win for a 2-1 over Shopify. I'm really worried for Impact, man. He has not looked good. He's not looked good at all.
He's the new Umpty.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I really hope he gets it figured out because I mean he's still one of my favorite players to this day. I hope he gets back into it.
Yeah, it's rough out here. It's rough out here for Impact fans. All right. Lion versus Dig. I'm gonna go Lion 2-1.
I also went Lion 2-1.
I'm going to go Lion 2-0. I know I spoke a lot earlier about how variable both of these teams can be. I got a vibe, though, man. I got something telling me this is going to be a 2-0, so I'm going to go Lion 2-0.
I got a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night for Lion. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed.
And then, all right, FlyQuest Cloud9. I'm going to say FlyQuest in the 2-1.
I'm also saying FlyQuest 2-1.
Okay.
I'm sorry to do it to y'all, but I'm gonna be the dissenter. I think Cloud9's gonna pull us out 2-1.
Wow.
It's okay to be wrong.
You know what? I would be happy to be wrong. I really would like to be wrong, but I hold more integrity on my picks. In which don't check my pick'ems, by the way.
Yeah, you're not doing very well. So
no, I'm not. You on the other hand are doing great. Although I will say you did fall behind by 1 point.
I did fall behind by 1 point. I don't remember exactly what it was that got me on the struggle bus, but
you picked Lion 2-1 is what it was. That was the difference, if I remember correctly.
Okay, yes. I also did not have Shopify beating 100 Thieves.
No, so, only like 3 people did, to be fair.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm only 1 point away, very easily. And
you're still in it.
Yeah, if you've got one of those green boxes, doesn't that mean you're in like some kind of raffle or something, or is that just?
No, I do that for Worlds, but that's
okay.
just to highlight. Hey, you had the high score for the week.
I see. All right. Well, that's the takes for the week. It'll be interesting to see how things go. Any other final topics before we look to close out the evening?
Yeah, why are there 2 LPL teams that just don't get to play until 2026? What?
Crazy. One of them being
what?
One of them being long-standing powerhouse organization Royal Never Give Up.
RNG is not playing until 2026.
Yeah.
What?
And OMG, they're both old orgs. They are legacy orgs in the LPL. They are both not playing until 2026.
I mean, who's on RNG right now anyway?
No one good.
Let me see.
Aaron Lee.
Zhaozhou, Milky Way. Oh, Milky Way's on it. Actually, he was huge.
Milky Way being on that team is actually kind of interesting. But yes.
Then Tangyan, Jockey, and Nicket.
After a bunch of no names.
Yeah, they really.
Hart is the coach.
Oh gosh.
That's a throwback. Curly doesn't even know who Hart is. I bet.
Hart is almost 40 years old, by the way. Knox.
Oh my gosh.
He was born in 1988. This man's 36, coaching in China. That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, Milky Way was basically Yeah, he went to Funplex Phoenix for a year and had like a great year there, and then he's been on RNG this whole season, and it's been a really bad year. That Funplus Phoenix team was actually pretty fun. That team had Doc Dom and Life on it, by the way. Um, they were actually pretty fun. And Funplus Phoenix actually this season has been not bad. They actually made the Ascend group. And fun fact about that Funplus Phoenix team this season, they have old Mad Lions jungler Shadow is on their team. So the guy who was on Mad Lions the year that I believe they made Worlds and lost in play-ins, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is the year. That was 2020 Worlds, where they lost to Supermassive when Arome was on that team. Anyone remember Arome? Boy, I certainly don't remember Arome. Humanoid, Karzi, and Kaiser were on that team as well. Karzi.
Oh wow, what a Mad Lions team!
Kaiser has like, what is Kaiser doing now? He's on Heretics B team in LVP, I think now. Man, that sucks. Yeah, they're in Superliga, although they're actually doing pretty good this year. Anyway, all right, I think that's basically it. That's all we got for tonight.
Yeah.
So let's close things out as I get my thing. That is all that we've had for tonight. Thanks for listening to another episode of Flight Check. Seeding, cross-group battle, positioning, playoff finding out weekend is up next. Saturday and Sunday. FlyQuest takes on Cloud9 in the first best of 3 on Saturday, followed by, and I just had it, followed by Lion versus Dignitas in the first elimination match. And then we've got TL Shopify on Sunday afternoon first, followed by 100 Thieves in Disguised in the other elimination match. It's going to be a great one. I'm excited to see where teams rise and fall. And you can also find out where they rise and fall on our Twitter accounts with all of our reactions and thoughts. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly _ double basketball _. Make sure to hop into the Discord as well. If you missed any esports discussion tonight, you can get in there and, recapture the magic. Just like the Orlando basketball team. If you missed any part of the episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. YouTube, a proud sponsor of the NBA. And if you're watching that and would like to catch the show live, we do broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Just make sure to deconflict with your local NBA playoff game. Nox, any final notes, shoutouts, or plugs before we wrap up?
Shout out to my crappy golf game. Yet to break a sub 100 on that regard. Finish the Pit.
Hey,
awesome show.
Nice.
Please go watch that. Gonna watch episode 4 of The Last of Us tonight. And I also started The Wire. I've been a long time coming on that one. It's been pretty good.
Nice. Curly, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to give my shout out to the superior sport in playoffs right now, the NHL. Way more exciting than anything the basketball, whatever, can do any day of the week. But besides that, my other shout out is going to go to Sinners. I saw that movie last night with my roommate. Dude, great film. Original film, really awesome. Michael B. Jordan, very impressive. Yeah, just all around, good time, good movie. Highly recommend.
Music is awesome. Music
went, oh my goodness. Music went crazy.
Nice. My shout out this week is going to be to the candy Reese's Pieces, which is definitely not pronounced Reese's Pieces, like certain heretics in my family would say. Reese's Pieces, folks.
Oh my goodness.
That's how it be. All right, we'll be back next week talking about the seeding matches, previewing the playoff rounds, and whatever else is coming up in the league. So for now, stay safe out there and bite your teeth. Do not forget to hit the head on the nail, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, folks.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.